Welcome to Nudgee. In this video, I'm going to explore the history of this area. That includes the bora ring, the waterholes, the orphanage, Nudgee Beach, the cemetery, and if I'm very lucky, I'll get access to an area where the public are normally forbidden to enter. The Nudgee bora ring is just up ahead of me. Here we are. This is it. Wow. The thing about this bora ring here is it's really a small one, which would indicate quite possibly that it was the female bora ring. See, bora rings, generally you would get two of them. You get the small female one and the larger male one. The larger male bora ring used to exist. There's reports of a bora ring existing not far from here on Redway Street. That got destroyed by farming many years ago. But the smaller ring survives. So I'm thinking that this is the female and children's bora ring. And during initiation, the boys would head up along a processional way to the larger ring where they would be initiated into manhood.
The name Nudgee could have originated from the word Nudgee or from Nudgee, meaning home of wild ducks. Then again, the Australian Government Railway claims it was called Nudgee. The Australian Women's Weekly magazine claims it is an Aboriginal word meaning green frog.
The very lovely Nudgee waterholes. Is it holes or hole? How many holes are we dealing with? The first European settlers here used this as their source of fresh water, mainly because it was known that this body of water never seemed to dry up, even in the worst droughts. And also keep in mind that this is not an ancient landscape. As recently as 3,400 years ago, this entire area was underwater as a result of the rising oceans after the most recent ice age. And then of course the impact of people, certainly after European settlement, clearing the area, opening it up, removing most of the native vegetation, though some of it is still there. New species, invasive species come in, and then later councils dredging the water holes, deepening them. So when you look at this waterhole, these water holes, you're not looking at something that's ancient and pristine. And at Nudgee Reserve there was gravel pits there, and that was mined to help make some of the early roads in this area. As a content creator, I know that if something were to happen to my computer, I don't want to be wasting valuable time mucking about trying to find someone who can repair it. That's why I'm proud to be partnering with the sponsor of today's video, Mobile Computer Geeks. Do you need a computer repaired or an upgrade? Maybe web design, web hosting, business emails, or IT support? They've got you covered, and with same-day service, they can come to you. All you need to do is click the link in the description and use the coupon code TECHROB to get 5% off. And it's raining. It was in 1863 that Alexander Macpherson was the first person to take up a freehold title here at Nudgee Beach. 2 years later, in 1865, Macpherson sold his freehold title to the Catholic Bishop of Brisbane, James Quinn. Rather strangely, Quinn added an O to the front of his last name, so from Quinn to O'Quinn. And the reason why he did that was because he wanted his name to sound more Irish. So it was Bishop James O'Quinn who appointed 4 nuns to take up the trusteeship of the land. And they were to set up the Sisters of Mercy St Vincent's Orphanage, which is the one down on Queen's Road. Before places like the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast became the holiday destinations for people from Brisbane, Brisbane folk used to come up here to Nudgee Beach. At the time, Nudgee Beach was known with the rather ridiculous title of Brisbane's Super Sands.
To the east of Nudgee Beach, just over a small creek that once existed, was the area that became known as Crib Island. You can see on this map how both Nudgee Beach and Crib Island were very similar geographically. Some of the streets in Nudgee Beach were named after the Dr. James Dunmore Lang ships, Fortitude, Chaseley and Lima. These were the first 3 immigrant ships that arrived in Brisbane in 1849.
Well, this is a place I never thought I would come to and visit. I am walking on the old Crib Island Road. This is the road to Crib Island. It was the only road to Crib Island. And it's been preserved here. The farms have gone, the agriculture has gone, the animals have gone. But the road is still here. That's one of the things I love about roads. There's still that mark in the landscape. You can walk on Crib Island Road on the other side, on the Nudgee side, but on this side, you need special permission. And of course, the most famous residents of Crib Island were the Bee Gees. They lived there for a little while when they were very young. So the Bee Gees, like everyone else from the small town, would have come along this road. And the road was sealed. It's all eroding away now, but I'll just put this around. There it is. It is a sealed road. Here, the planes, wow. Crib Island was bought by John George Crib in 1863. And in 1885 he sold 65 acres of it to a fellow by the name of James Jackson, because James Jackson wanted to grow bananas. The story of Crib Island really is, I think, quite a sad one, because it was so beloved by the people who lived there, despite environmental concerns which gradually came to overwhelm the town. It was very prone to flooding later on and pollution. And then the suburb's fate was sealed when it was announced that Brisbane Airport was going to move up here, because Brisbane Airport was down at Eagle Farm. And so the airport was built up here, and unfortunately Crib Island was just in the way. And this is the end of the road here. This is where Crib Island Road now stops. The rest of it is under the airport. There is a bank running along the road. It's directly parallel to it, obviously man-made. That could be an old fence boundary or just someone's property. I've just noticed there what looks like an old fence post. Yeah, it's got nail holes in it, look.
Thomas Childs arrived in Brisbane on the Fortitude in 1849. In 1866, he selected 70 acres of land and set up the Toombul Vineyards. His wines and champagne won 4 gold medals, as well as many silver and bronze medals at the France-Britain exhibition. The land was later sold to become the Nudgee Golf Course.
In the 1860s, this area was very popular with duck shooters coming up from Brisbane. They would arrive on a Saturday evening and pitch their tents and be ready for the carnage on Sunday morning.
In the 1860s, orphaned and homeless children were living in the General Hospital in George Street, Brisbane. In 1867, St Vincent's Orphanage opened on Queen's Road, which was originally known as Orphanage Road. It was founded on high ground, an area that was virtually an island during very high tides.
Banyo Bowls Club. I tried bowls once, but they wouldn't let me back again because I kept doing it overarm. This is Nudgee Cemetery. It opened in 1867, and the very first person to be buried here was a guy called Bernard McHugh. And he died after hitting his head on a low-hanging branch while riding home one night on his horse. And this is the very first Catholic-operated burial ground to be opened in Brisbane. In doing the research for this video, I read about this huge bunya pine right behind me. Apparently it is about 200, maybe 250 years old, which means, of course, this tree was already growing before the cemetery was established. Bunya pine forests were ubiquitous here in southeast Queensland. And I found this grave here, purely came upon it by chance. It is, what does it say? Among the first priests to die, wait, I'll wait for the traffic. Among the first priests to die in Queensland were 3 buried in the Catholic section of the Paddington Cemeteries, now Lang Park. Their remains are still there. For those of you who watch my channel, you know that I did a documentary about the old cemeteries at Lang Park. Nudgee Station. The train line came through here in 1882. Back then, if you wanted to get on the train at night, you had to attract the train driver's attention, and that meant either swinging a hurricane lamp or setting fire to something, a tissue or a bit of newspaper. You'd stand here at the platform, set fire to your thing and wave it about, and hope that the train driver would see you and pull up so you could get on the train.
On this land sale advert from 1886, it assures prospective buyers that doctors are not required. Nudgee College was established in 1891 as a boarding campus for St Joseph's College on Gregory Terrace. The school actually began in 1875 with classes being conducted at the St Stephen's Catholic Church in Elizabeth Street.
In 1892, the last known traditional Indigenous burial occurred not too far from Nudgee Beach. It was up on Dinar Island, just to the northwest of here. The person buried there was King Johnny. The Nudgee School of Arts opened in 1914 next to and part of the showgrounds. They had their own little showgrounds here. Like all other School of Arts buildings, this was a place of dances and weddings and other social events. There was a lending library here, table tennis, quoits, euchre. What the hell's euchre? Oh, euchre. This is what it looked like when it was first built. Standing just next to the School of Arts, and they've got a very good little, quite a large information board here. And it's talking about the very first settler here, and that was Mr. William Bennett. 13 acres he bought for £21 9 shillings in 1863. It says that William Bennett was born in Somershire. Now where the hell's Somershire? I've never heard of that. There's Somerset. Was it something to do with the boundary changes in England in 1974? I've honestly never heard of Somershire. And it was in 1916 that land here at Nudgee Beach began to be subdivided for sale. In the 1920s and the 1930s, Nudgee waterholes were a popular venue for picnickers. Not so popular today, no one's here. The orphanage closed in 1971, and like so many other such religious institutions, there are countless tales of neglect and abuse there, and I certainly have no desire whatsoever to run through a list of them. Okay, so the Jim Sawley bikeway, that will make a right turn just over there, you can see it. But if you keep looking further on, the path continues in a straight line. This pathway here, the whole thing, this is a former road. I can't remember what the... Oh, there's some golf balls here. I wonder if they want them back. I'm just using the umbrella here as a windbreak because it's so windy. The area in front of me, which you can't see at the moment, the area in front of me is the Kedron Brook floodway. Now it looks like it's a natural feature, but nothing could be further from the truth. It was man-made in the early 1980s to channel water from the Kedron Brook catchment area down past the airport so it wouldn't flood the airport and out into Moreton Bay. Originally, this, what you're seeing here, was just a little creek. I'm standing on Queen's Road. The orphanage is just behind me up that way. Queen's Road, however, if I turn the camera around, there's a wall here. In 1986, the Gateway Arterial was smashed through Nudgee. And this road, including a few others, suddenly dead ends. But before then, this road had traffic. Going up and down here, went down to the main road leading up to Nudgee Beach. This is what it looked like before the Gateway Arterial went through. And the road just continued on that way. And there we have it, my history of Nudgee and Nudgee Beach. Walking around here today, I realised just what an incredible variety of environments there are here. Obviously you've got the mangroves and the sand and Moreton Bay here, which is all lovely. Then you've got the water holes and the bora ring. There's the higher ground where the cemetery is. Old buildings like the orphanage. If you haven't already done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does help the channel. I think it's something like 60% of my viewers are not subscribed. So do us a favour, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you again on the next walk.